Travis, man.
Nice to meet you, Lucas. How are you? How you doing?
Muy bien, acá estamos en el set de Warcraft, en el Junket Mundial de la película, y les voy a empezar a mostrar lo que prepararon en Universal Studios para nosotros. Esto es increíble, de verdad si han jugado alguna vez al juego, como yo que perdí varias tardes de mi vida, en esto es como un sueño hecho realidad, porque van a ver armaduras de verdad, estos martillos, hachas, que es como... te dan como muchas ganas de romper algo. Uno piensa que en la película quizás era todo por computadora, pero no, construyeron de verdad sets y props y cosas muy locas, incluso hay como un olorcito a horda, no sé si me entienden, que son todos tremendos. Estas entrevistas van a empezar de esta forma, conmigo cumpliendo un sueño. Esto es como todo, chicos, de verdad. Estoy haciendo como ridículo, quizás puede ser, pero tengo una espada y tengo un escudo ahora. Esto es increíble. Como ven, todas las armas y cosas que van a ver en la película son de verdad. Las hicieron a mano, una por una. Y acá tenemos el arsenal del reino de Azeroth. Y vamos a entrevistar al director Duncan Jones y a todo el elenco, entre ellos Toby Kebbell, Fimmel, Paula Patton, Kazinsky y muchos más. Yo estoy muy emocionado, espero que ustedes puedan apreciar todo lo que estamos haciendo acá. Es increíble el set.
Dark forces are upon us.
Which was your first reaction when you watched it entirely?
I thought it was amazing. I mean, if you're a fan of Lord of the Rings or Avatar, this is like 10 years later, the technology, you know, and it's advanced so much. And Duratan here, Toby plays an orc, which is a huge monster, but you can see his passion and his intelligence. Well, not the intelligence, but you can see all his feelings and emotions, you know, because you see every expression.
When I watched it, I literally the next day went to Comic-Con and saw all these guys. So I think I was one of the first to see it. And it was phenomenal, even back then, and half my shots, half me and Rob and the rest of the orcs, we were all still in grey pyjamas, you know, with the helmets and the cameras. But it was still so well told, you know, it was such a well-made film.
I watched it on a Monday at 2 p.m. and I remember all by myself in this theater and I went, oh my God, this is amazing. And I couldn't imagine the scope of it. It feels like it takes you away into the most incredible magical world, and I don't know, it's just exciting to be a part of it.
It's such a leap of faith when you're shooting, and you're shooting on a green screen, you're shooting with CG work. You know that so much is being left to post-production. You don't have the practicality of your surroundings, so you're trying to endow things, and you're trusting what Duncan says, and you're throwing yourself into it.
And maybe you're talking to a green guy.
Yeah,
right?
you're talking to...
It's like having a pencil drawing of the Mona Lisa. You know
Exactly,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like, you know, you can see what it's gonna be, but you don't know how it's gonna be.
How it's gonna... Exactly.
Can we trust him? They're beasts. They should all be destroyed.
You know, there's an awful lot of pressure on my... I put a lot of pressure on myself for this film to be the film that it should be, because nobody's expecting it to be, and I didn't want this film to suck, because this game means the world to me, and this film means the world to me. So when I finally saw it, I walked out and I sat down, I had a cigarette, and I sat down and I was just like, thank God.
It's so amazing having you in this film, because the game is such a big thing for you, and you're like the personification of every find in the world.
Well, this is the thing. Everybody wants Illidan, and everybody wants Arthas, and everybody wants those stories, but you can't tell those stories.
Absolutely.
You know, you couldn't start Star Wars with Return of the Jedi. You had to start with A New Hope, or you know, in the middle. And you know, in the history of the game, this is the boring part. You know, that's it.
This is the part that you wanted to go on.
So if we've done this bit well, and we've made a great movie about the boring part of history, it's because, look, man, I've been waiting for this film for 20 years.
If our people are to survive, we must make a home here.
And talking about this, that we don't see your face actually on the movie. What was your approach to make this character?
I mean, the whole process of getting into it is done with a chap named Terry Notary. So he's the teacher. I work with him on Planet of the Apes, and he does the basic formula for what we're trying to do. So if you're 800 pounds, there's a certain way you'd move. There's a certain weight to everything you do, you know? So all of that you then take home and you do your cooking like that. You reach for things in the cupboard and you don't turn past a certain part of your shoulder.
It was worrying until, you know, because you're sitting there with the dots on and the cameras on, and there is this inevitable kind of like, I mean, why not just animate it, you know? But then about a month into prep, Jeff White from ILM brought in a 30-second rendered version of Orgrim. We'd filmed a sequence and they just did it so they could show, and any movement, any tick, anything, it all came through, and it came through perhaps even stronger than it does on my own face. You know, I am in that. You know, that is me still. It doesn't look like me, but it's no different than wearing a heavy makeup or being.
Whatever happens. Whatever happens.
Have you teach him or anyone in the set how to play?
He was like our go-to. He was, if there was any questions we had on set, it was always, "Where's Rob?" It's like, Rob. Yeah,
you're the guardian of work.
I was always there if people had a question, but I never went around going.
Yeah, it was never, you know.
Ben, it's like this from our case.
I'd never been the guy that did that, but it was, yeah. There were certain things that gave me an advantage in terms of knowing.
And you guys remember the toughest day on set?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We had a lot of night shoots because these guys had locations.
Yeah.
And so we were in the paper, do you remember the paper factory, the big paper mill? So in that place it was ultra cold for some reason. Even though Vancouver's cold, it was colder inside the building than it was outside. And we had a night shoot. But even the toughest days, they were saved by a chap named Clancy Brown.
Yeah.
He plays the toughest screw in Shawshank. You know, he's an amazing actor, phenomenal. He's on SpongeBob SquarePants. Clancy just has a way to ease a set, to bring up the spirits of everyone, you know.
The thing is that I think there's a lot of challenging days, but then at the end of the day, or at the end of the movie, you don't really remember that. You just remember the experience, and it was a cool one to be a part of.
For orcs, there is no other life but war.
And it's just game changer about the way they made these video games movies.
Yes,
right?
the first one. It's going to be the first movie that a studio has taken seriously.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? They've thrown a real budget at it, and they've given it to a great director, and they've done the right script, and it's a $200 million passion project. You know, everybody who worked in this movie, they chose to work on this movie. You know, they gave up other better paying jobs to come and work on this movie because they loved it. And they've made that film because it's their passion to do so, and it's going to be the first film ever that's going to be a good video game adaptation.
Warcraft, the beginning.